we're gonna take a look at 4 different hucking shapes that everybody should have. And by the end of this month, we're gonna break down when is the time and place to use each. The first one we're gonna start with, we're gonna call the fastball. And this one is used low, fast, and out to space at a sharp inside-out angle, so it gets to your speedy receiver when there's not much of a window. Let's take a look. If you see here, the first thing is the low release. That's gonna help keep it low and fast. The inside-out angle's also gonna help it keep it flat the entire flight. If we pause it right here in this angle, we'll see that it's only 15 to 20 feet off the ground and getting there quickly. Bringing in a receiver here, we can see that they're already 25 yards deep. So we gotta put that fastball out to have any hope in hitting them in stride. This last angle here is the backhand. All these shapes can be thrown with a forehand and a backhand, but for the most examples, we just chose to use the forehand. Here we're gonna take an overhead look at a video example of the fastball. We have an offensive player that snuck behind the defense, and they're too deep where we're not able to lead them because that would be way too far of a throw. So instead of throwing a disc that floats, we're gonna try to put this disc as fast as possible and almost use the same shape as if you're just throwing to a player 10 yards away. Low and fast, gets there quick before the defense can react, and we're not trying to lead our player to space. Let's take a look. Behind the defense, and Valeria is just trying to get it there fast. We're not trying to lead our receiver because they're already open. We want the disc to get there as fast as possible, and you'll notice it only travels about 20 feet off the ground. The next throw we're gonna work on is similar to the fastball, but we're gonna put a little more outside in on it, which is gonna cause it to helix. We're gonna give it some more air, and this way, we're gonna throw it towards the same spot, but it's kind of gonna up, outside in, and come back, helixing, which gives our receiver more time to make the catch. We use this when we have a nice shallow deep cut and the player's very open, so we want it to float in front of our receiver as much as possible, maximizing the catching window. The fastball is used more when the window is smaller and you have to get it there in a hurry. Let's take a look at this helix. Notice that it's going up and out to the right, but flat at the top. From here, it's gonna come back a little bit to the left, but since it was thrown pretty flat, at the end of the flight, it's able to check back a little bit to the right. The earlier you can get that to happen, the better. At the side angle, you'll notice the disc is going way up, almost at 30 feet, and really slow at the end by the time it hits the screen. This time, we're really gonna try to check the disc, keep it down the right side, and get a full helix on it. That one was what we were looking for. At the very last second, you saw it start to come back to the right. That way, our receiver could have ran onto it from 40, 50 yards away. In this next video example, we're gonna see Yina getting the disc in power position, going this way, and looking for an open receiver who started their cut really shallow, which is exactly how you wanna cut. And now Yina's gonna put the helix out to space. If we use a fastball here, we risk not throwing the receiver into the end zone because it would probably get around here. Or if we throw the fastball too far, we have more of a room for error to overthrow. Instead, it's gonna be a nice outside in shape that's gonna sit in this catching window, allowing our receiver to run onto it, keeping the separation here, but floating far enough ahead where they can catch a goal on almost a stationary disc. Notice when we freeze the frame here, the disc isn't gonna move too much. It's just gonna sit right on a platter for Kayla to run onto. You'll notice the outside in shape, it has a ton of spin, and it's just floating in one spot, almost kicking left at the end like we talked about. If you're looking for some extra training outside of just throws, then join me in my new training program. I got my strength and conditioning certification last year and have a new plan that takes on throwing, skill work, skill development, and of course, gym, speed, strength, and power. So if you want to become an explosive athlete and get better on the field, then come on in, descriptions in below or in the pinned comment. Looking forward to working with you. Now let's get back to the throws. The next throw you need, and is probably the most recommended, is the fade. The fade is when you throw it similar to the helix, but you don't want it to come back down to the open side. You want to keep it on the break side where only your receiver can get it. So again, it's a bit more floaty than a fastball, and it's got the same outside in as the helix, but it stays to the break side the whole time, never coming back. Here we're gonna take a look at the angle of the break side fade. It's also thrown up, but more central. That way this outside in angle is able to go from right in front of the thrower towards the left, which is the break side, without coming back to the right and helixing. This is gonna keep the disc on the break side the entire time. If we bring in a receiver here, you'll notice that they're running straight, but they're gonna have to adjust a little bit to the left to make the catch. And the side angle, you'll see that the disc goes up in the air, but instead of floating to the end, it's gonna dive down to the end a little faster than the helix. In this video example of the break side fade, we're gonna start with the disc here, headed down to this end zone. The defender's gonna be in this open side lane, so we're not able to throw the fastball here, or even the helix here, because the defender would win a foot race to this spot because they have the advantage being so much on this open side. Therefore, we wanna put the disc on this break side, so not only is our cutter closer to this spot, but if there's a bad throw or if it floats, they're able to use their body as a shield to box out. The one thing you need to be careful about for the break side fade is if there's defender too deep, a little stack here, we need to make sure that the break side defender is shallow enough so they can't make a play on this here. If they're playing center field out this way, then that's a much more difficult break side fade, because even though they have this player beat, this help defender off the back can sneak for the poach. Something to keep an eye on when you're thinking about that break side fade versus the outside in helix to the open side. Here we have Grant with the disc 5 yards on the open side of this hash marks. We have the cut right in front of the thrower, but instead of leading it here where the defense can win the race, we notice the disc goes about 20 yards to the break side, fading the entire way, only where the receiver can catch it. The last throw we have is the blade. The blade is similar to the fade, but it gets there fast and quick and dives down. For the fade, we want it to float to the break side. For the blade, it's just gonna go straight to the ground. It's used against zones and to get to the break side fast when you have a defender floating over the top, leaving the weak side open. Here we're gonna see just how outside in you have to throw this disc. It's almost 45 degrees, and it's just gonna dive down really quickly. Here you'll notice it's just gonna go up and down, and if we take an over the top angle on it, you'll see that it doesn't really go vertical, it's just all right to left. We already kind of discussed when the blade should be used. It's much easier as a forehand. The backhand blade is probably just a hammer. If you don't have a hammer and you wanna try a backhand blade, let's see what it looks like. Here we're gonna take a look at a blade example in game. We're gonna put the disc in the middle of the field with this thrower and an end of quarter AUDL situation where there's 5 seconds left and we need to throw a goal. However, there's 2 defenders here. So any helix is gonna get defended, a fastball has to go through this defender, and a break side fade is also not an option because there's no space to throw it. That's gonna leave us with the blade where we can use that outside in shape here, but also it's gonna get there fast enough where this player can't close. If this was more of a floaty outside in helix, that's gonna give them a chance to make a block. Instead, we're gonna go with the blade to get around the defense and to our receiver quickly. Here we have a few defenders back, so we need to get the Huck in with a blade. There's a few right here. And you'll notice when we throw the replay up how fast the disc comes in. It's not fading or helixing, it's diving down. All right, now we're out on the field showing you the best drill to practice your hucking shapes. We're gonna have a cutting cone. When I get there, I'm gonna have 4 cones to choose from, each representing a different throw. We're gonna start with I pick the cone and the thrower throws the correct shape. And then after a few reps, we're gonna take away the guide cones and have the thrower use their imagination to throw the correct throw. The thrower's looking, even though they're not there, for help defenders, shape of the cut, and depth of the cut. Let's begin. Here we're just gonna have a cutter picking each cone and the thrower throwing each throw. The first one's gonna be that fastball in stride. The second cut's gonna be a little shallower, so Felipe's able to put the helix on where it's gonna sit out to that space, allow me to run onto it. The break side fade, I'm gonna run straight down the field and readjust to the left as I see that disc fading to the break. For the blade, it's a little different. I'm gonna get to the spot first because this throw is not meant to be led. Now we're gonna bring in multiple players. This is how the drill should be run. We're gonna have a thrower and multiple cutters. The drill works best with 3 to 6 players. After you get more than 6, there's just too much waiting around. Each thrower is going to make 8 consecutive throws of their choice, depending on where they think the cutter is, where they want the cutter to go, and where they visualize the defense. The cutters are going to jog the disc back and get to the back of the line. It can be a bit of a cardio workout as well as a hucking shape drill. So again, this is our best drill for these shapes. Play around with it. You can throw these anywhere from 30 to 50 yards, depending on the space you have. Recommend taking this drill back to your team.